From Television City in Hollywood, the Jack Benny program with his special guest, George Gobel. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, this is a very important election year, and people all over the country are campaigning. Even our own little star is busily engaged in local politics.
Oh, say, boss.
Wait a minute, Rochester. I want to change one word in the first paragraph of my speech here.
But that makes about the 10th time you've changed that thing.
Well, certainly. This is probably the most important speech I'll ever make. After all, I'm running for president of the Beverly Hills Beavers Club. How's the sign coming on, the campaign sign?
Oh, pretty good. Say, let me ask you something.
Yeah?
How come you're making so much importance out of this campaign? After all, the Beverly Hills Beavers are only kids.
Only kids? Rochester, that's no way to look at it. I mean, these children are the future of our country. And believe me, it's a great satisfaction to see some youngster that I've guided that'll grow up to be a fine citizen.
Oh, by the way, you got a letter from one of those youngsters this morning.
Which one?
Bernard Baruch.
Oh, yes, little Bernie. Loves pigeons. Well, I better go over this speech right away so I learn it and memorize it.
I'll get it.
Mr. President, fellow Beavers.
Hello, Rochester.
Well, come on in, Everett. Mr. Benny, here's your campaign manager.
Oh, come on in. Yeah, I see you brought your kid brother with you, huh?
Yeah, you know, Jimmy was thinking of voting for Skinny Miller.
No, what?
But I got him to promise to vote for you.
Well, good. Every vote counts. Here you are, Jimmy. Here, have a lollipop.
See? I told you he was a great guy.
Big deal. Skinny Miller gave me 2 lollipops.
Well, you're not voting for Skinny, so forget it. Don't worry about Jimmy. He's with us.
Good. Say, how's the campaign coming along?
Everything's set. I wrote Vote for Benny on every sidewalk in town.
Oh, good.
And here's some more campaign material.
Fine.
And I went by the Beavers clubhouse and put your picture right on the center of the wall.
Did you glue it on good?
I didn't have to. 5 minutes after I hung it up, there was 40 darts in it.
Darts?
I felt like Brian Donlevy on a dangerous assignment.
This looks pretty good. Hey, tell me, Everett, do you really believe that I'll win this election?
Mr. Benny, as far as I'm concerned, you're the next president of the Beverly Hills Beavers.
Gee, I hope so. You know, if I win, I'm going to give it everything I've got. Because I firmly believe that Woodrow Wilson was right when he says a public office is a public trust.
No, that was Grover Cleveland.
Cleveland? Oh, that's right. It was Wilson. Woodrow Wilson said, walk softly, but carry a big stick. I remember that.
That was Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, who said, give me liberty or give me death?
Patrick Henry said that.
Well? Haven't you got a line? What?
Your line.
My line? What's my line?
Let's not fight about this thing, boss.
Oh, I have the line. What are you nervous about? You're younger than I am. Now, look, let's not fight about that. I have enough hard work to do as it is.
Do I have to vote for him? He doesn't know anything.
I'm getting all weary. If you think you're working hard,
Yeah?
you should see the kid that's running for the old job of treasurer.
You mean Alvin?
Yeah, he's been going over his speech for days.
No.
Friends and fellow beavers, if I am elected treasurer of this club, I will collect all the dues every week and keep track of all the money spent. Are you listening, Uncle George?
To every word. All right, Alvin. Continue.
I will collect all the dues every week and keep track of all the money spent. And even though Billy Smith is better at arithmetic than I am, I would probably work harder. And in that way, I think I would make a good treasurer for this club.
How does that sound, Uncle George?
Alvin, that is probably the most sincere, straightforward, and honest speech that I have ever heard.
Really?
Really, and I'm ashamed of you. Boy, this is politics. You got to lie a little bit, boy. Lie.
Uncle George, what do you know about politics?
Why, our family has been in it for generations. Like, take your great-great-granddaddy, Filibuster Gobel. Yeah, there was a talker, boy. I remember, sit down, boy. I remember one time he stood on the floor of Congress and he talked for 5 solid days without stopping. Now think about that, didn't close his mouth for 111 hours and 47 minutes.
He didn't even stop to eat?
No. Fortunately, he swallowed a few flies and that kept him going.
Gee, he doesn't sound like a very good congressman.
I want to tell you, if it weren't for him, they never would have passed Appropriation Bill 708.
708?
Yes.
What's that?
You don't know. Oh. Half-day school sessions have got to go. Appropriation Bill 708 was that memorable piece of legislation which provided $100,000 to buy toupees for bald eagles. Every time you see an eagle flying around that looks like Elvis Presley, you be proud of your great-granddad.
Secretary called the roll. Timmy Warblum's excuse for being absent at the previous meeting was that his father told him he would have to stay at his grandmother's for a few days because his mother went to the hospital to buy a new baby. Timmy said there must have been a big sale because his mother came home with 2 of them. The meeting was adjourned at 7:30 and we all went home.
You've heard the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any corrections?
Yes. I was absent at the last meeting, and he didn't mention my name.
Oh, yes, that's right. You did miss the last meeting. Where were you?
I was in jail.
Jail?
Yeah, I got lost again.
You get lost every other day.
Sure. You go into the police station, tell them you're lost, cry a little, and they give you ice cream cones and everything.
I move that the minutes be approved as read.
I second the motion. Is there any new business? Billy?
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce Medford Payton. He just moved into my neighborhood, and he'd like to become a member of our club.
Medford, we're glad that you want to be in our club. Where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
Texas?
Capital of the United States, envy of the world, and jewel of the universe.
What kind of business is your father in?
My daddy's in the oil and cattle business.
Oil and cattle?
Yes, sir. My daddy happens to own 200
72 rooms, 7 cars, and 15 servants.
Golly. Why'd you move to Beverly Hills?
We wanted to rough it for a while.
Well, Medford, if you'll stay after the meeting is over, you can fill out an application for membership.
Application? I think you all missed the point. You fellas have to fill out the application. You see, I'm from Texas. You're joining me.
Well, Medford, if you'll sit down, we'll take up this question later. And now, members of the Beverly Hills Beavers, I think...
Kids, where are you?
Down here, Mr. Benny.
Okay, I'll be right with you.
Mr. Benny! Mr. Benny! The pledge.
Oh, the pledge. Oh, I forgot the pledge. I'm a beaver, you're a beaver. We are beavers all. If you are in trouble, simply give the beaver call. If there's any danger, all you have to do is shout, and I will come a-running if Rochester lets me out. Yay, beaver! Was I elected president?
We haven't held the election yet, and we can't do that until all the old officers relinquish their previous positions. And, Mr. Benny, since you were the treasurer, now is the proper time for you to turn over the bank book, so we'll know how much money we have.
Oh, the bank book, yeah. I brought it. I know I brought it from the house. Oh, here it is. Here's the bank book for the beaver.
Wow! 18,467,000.
What? Wrong book. There's the one. There's the one.
$6.73.
Gee, now it sounds like nothing.
I thought the first one sounded like nothing.
Wait a minute, who's he?
He's my friend Medford. He's from Texas. His father owns 287 oil wells and 16,000 head of cattle. He wants to join our club.
Oh.
Well, there's a difference of opinion on that.
Well, whatever it is, I'm with him. Have a look.
And now, members of the Beverly Hills...
I'm sorry I'm late. I'm a beaver, you're a beaver. We are beavers all. If you are in trouble, simply give the beaver a call. No matter what the danger, all you have to do is shout, and I will come a-running if my mother lets me out. Yay, beavers!
Let's get on with the voting, huh?
Just a minute, Mr. Benny. I have a question about this election.
What is it?
Skinny Miller dropped out, and you're the only one running for president. I don't think that's fair.
Oh, yeah? Well, let me tell you something. If anybody's got nerve enough to run against me, I'll oppose them.
Okay. Come on in, Uncle George.
He's the beaver's choice. Vote for Gobel.
He's not even a member.
George. You can't do any voice. He'll make a darn good president. His platform is the top. So vote
Wait a minute.
for
Hey, George,
Gobel.
wait a minute. Wait.
Stand back, hound dog, of which you ain't nothing but a. Vote for Gobel. Vote for
Look, this is a
Gobel.
serious election. What are you doing?
Came down here to keep this thing honest and funny. Oh, gorgeous Gobel for president. All
Look,
you
you
have
can't
to
run
do...
for president until you become a member of this club, and that'll cost you a dime. Right, fellas?
Yeah!
Any of you? What are you doing?
Well, until I'm elected president, I'm still treasurer of the club.
Mr. President, before we get down to the voting, I would like to say a few words about my candidate, Mr. Benny.
Very well. Edward has the floor.
Fellow Beavers, I want you to know why my candidate deserves to get your vote. Mr. Benny is too modest to stand up here and tell you the many things he told me in confidence. As you know, Mr. Benny was born in Waukegan, where he went to grammar and high school.
True.
Then he went to the University of Illinois, where he played halfback on the football team, and for 3 years was an All-American. He would have been an All-American for 4 years, but he had to quit school to go into training for his first fight with Jack Dempsey.
Oh, come on.
Please, Mr. Gobel, please. Mr. Gobel, you'll get your chance to speak later.
And Mr. Benny is very glad the elections are being held at this time, because next week he has to leave for Melbourne, Australia, where he's going to swim in the Olympic Games.
I'm very good in salt water.
People notice, but Mr. Benny once competed against Esther Williams. I feel that Mr. Benny will make us a very good president because he believes that we should go on holiday.
What are you doing?
And he also believes
I
that
speak
we should
next.
go
I'm
on
making some
public
mental
picnics.
notes.
And it is because of these worthwhile accomplishments that I urge you to vote for my candidate, Mr. Benny.
Order, please. And now we will hear from Mr. Benny's worthy opponent, Mr. George Gobel.
Thank you, Mr. President, worthy opponent, and itty-bitty buddies. Usually when a person gets up to make a campaign talk, he tries to belittle his opponent, right? But I can't do that because I believe everything they said about Mr. Benny. It is true he was an All-American. As a matter of fact, one Saturday afternoon, he made 7 touchdowns all by himself. He had to make them all by himself because the rest of his All-American team was in New Amsterdam selling Manhattan Island to the white men.
I object.
For the price they got, I knew you would.
Finish your speech and sit down.
Another thing, it was mentioned that Mr. Benny once competed with Esther Williams, and that is also true, but I want you to know that it was in a beauty contest.
Well, second ain't bad.
I will now conclude my speech with my campaign song. Vote for Gobel.
Please, Mr. Gobel, please, Mr. Gobel. Mr. Gobel. And now, members of the Beverly Hills Beavers, it is time to vote. And in true Democratic tradition, we will have a secret ballot. All those in favor of Mr. Jack Benny for president, say aye to yourself.
When they say secret, they mean secret.
And now, all those in favor of Mr. George Gobel for president, say aye to yourself. Give us the results, Stanley.
Mr. President, 4 members voted for Mr. Benny and 4 members voted for Mr. Gobel. Therefore, it's a tie.
Thank you, Stanley.
Stanley?
Stanley Dunninger.
Well, it looks, Jack, like the election is a tie.
It can't be a tie. I spent a fortune on lollipops. Now, listen, I want a true, honest vote.
All right. All those in favor of Mr. Jack Benny for president, stand up and raise your hand. All those in favor of Mr. George Gobel for president, stand up and raise your hand.
There we go.
Since it's a tie, I
you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, weren't those kids wonderful? I love to have children on my show because they're uninhibited, nothing bothers them, nothing worries them. So relaxed and everything, and they work for practically nothing. Had a little trouble with the president, but we ironed that out. But anyway, of course, we have a problem when we have children on a show. And that is, you see, they still have to go to school. And so they have to have their schooling here, and we have to bring a school teacher here, and then every hour or so they have to leave and study, you see. And I think it's no more than right that you meet their school teacher who's been here with us. Miss Jensen, please. Feeling the kids will be back pretty soon. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to have you meet my guest star once again, Mr. Gobel. George! George!
Can you kind of hurry it up a little bit? I want to get back to school.
Listen, George, I do want to thank you very, very much for coming on my show.
Oh, well, thank you, Jack. Being a kind of a newcomer in this business, it's a real great thrill for me to be working in the same show with a performer who is known as being a real great, a master of comedy.
Oh.
Well, no, you'd be surprised. Working with someone that you've thought and known about, and it kind of gives me just a glow of pride.
Oh, George, now you're making me blush.
Well, I don't see why, because I'm talking about Red Skelton. Come on here, Red, old buddy, and take care of one more time. I want to tell you that all the things I was telling Jack out here, I really mean.
Well, thanks, George, and I want you to know that I never miss your program.
I feel the same way about your show.
Well, isn't it odd, though, that we two great comedians should meet on a dramatic show?
It's just...
Well, if those two gentlemen don't get to my sponsor right away, I will be back on the show 2 weeks from tonight. And next Sunday, be sure and watch Ann Southern. And incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make an announcement. For 24 years or more, I was on radio. And then I dropped out for about a year. See? And so I'm very happy to announce tonight that starting next Sunday, my radio programs will be repeated on the CBS radio network. And that's next Sunday. And every Sunday thereafter. Thank you very much.
Appearing on tonight's program were Barbara Pepper, Louis Lettieri, Billy Street, Dennis Pepper, Stevie Wooten, Bart Bradley, Gary Allen, Ricky Allen, Ronnie Anton, Mel Stevens, Scotty Morrow, Hugh Corcoran, and Rosemary Ace. Jack Benny's next television show will be in 2 weeks with his guest stars, Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman. This is Don Wilson saying good night.